and East Minnesota.
Anytime Auto Sales.
Where can you get surprisingly great rates on auto and renter's insurance? At State Farm. I'm State Farm agent Matt McCormick, and I'm your one-stop shop in Rapid City for protecting your car and your stuff for surprisingly great rates. So stop looking around. Call me, State Farm agent Matt McCormick, for surprisingly great auto and renter's rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
It's the geometry teacher who mans the ticket window.
It's the kid in grade school who paints her face blue and white before every home game.
It's the accountants and salesmen and store managers who give up their Friday evenings to referee.
It's the graduate who listens to the league championship game on the internet.
It's the parent who sells ads in the school athletic program.
It's the cashier at the corner convenience store who wears school colors on every game day.
It's the trainers, equipment managers, and ball boys who never miss a practice.
What makes high school sports here in South Dakota so special? They do.
You do.
We all do.
High school sports. It's the we that every community needs. This message presented by the South Dakota High School Activities Association and the South Dakota Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City. You need to know.
3 Game 5s of the Eastern Conference tonight, where the series are set at 3-1. Bucks and Pacers about to tip off with Indiana up 3-1 in that series. They're at home in Indianapolis. Knicks are home in New York, entertaining the Pistons up 3-1 at 7:30 Eastern time. And the Celtics try to close out the Magic at 8:30 Eastern time. Boston up 3-1 in that series. Tonight in Denver at 10 o'clock Eastern, Nuggets and Clippers. Their Western Conference series tied up at 2 apiece. They'll play Game 5 in the Mile High City. Sacramento Kings have taken the interim tag off of Doug Christie's title. He's now their full-time head coach, signing a multi-year deal. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver told The Athletic that the league is looking at having an international format to next year's All-Star game. The 49ers and tight end George Kittle have agreed to terms on a 4-year extension worth $76.4 million. He'll get $40 million annually. Guaranteed $19.1 million annually. That's the highest ever for a tight end in NFL history. I'm Dan Beyer.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome in. Good Tuesday afternoon. It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show back. We are live on Fox Sports Radio across South Dakota. The Nate Brown Show. Here we go. Welcome in. Thanks for making this show possible. Let's get after it tonight. Have some fun, great interviews, great guests, thought-provoking sports talk, and you can be a part of the conversation. We invite you in, so let's get rolling tonight. The Nate Brown Show streaming live on X right now. Follow the show and watch us live at Nate Brown Show. We're on X. Welcome in there. And YouTube channel. We're almost there to the 200 subscriber mark. We're almost there. Then I'll have some street cred. Not quite, but we're getting close. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Nate Brown Show. You can find us. You've got us, The Nate Brown Show, and we're live on YouTube. Welcome in wherever you're listening from. Thanks for making us part of your day. Let's get going tonight. Let's look at what's on tap. Brought to you by the new Campfire Bar inside the new Mr. Liquor off Catron Boulevard. The Campfire Bar has 20 local brews on tap, and the NHL playoffs and NBA playoffs on. Stop in for live sports and the best brew at the Campfire Bar inside the new Mr. Liquor off Catron Boulevard. What's on tap tonight? Greg Bell's going to join us live from Seattle. I want to get some insight from the Seahawks beat writer on Gray Zabel and more. Of course, the first-round pick out of Pierre, South Dakota. We talked to his high school coach last night, Steve Steele. If you missed that, good stuff from Coach Steele, taking us back to the high school days with Gray Zabel and Pierre. catch the Nate Brown Show podcast. That interview's up from yesterday. Greg Bell tonight on the NFL side of things. What do they see in Gray Zabel right out of the gate for the Seahawks? Greg Bell, Seahawks beat writer, the News Tribune, getting set for rookie minicamp. Scott Pianowski's on tonight, National Major League Baseball writer, Yahoo Sports. There's one team here in the region that's hitting their stride a little bit. Look at those Minnesota Twins. They've won 6 out of their last 7. Getting close to 500, 5 games back. Can they make a little run here? We're not even into May. And then you look at the Colorado Rockies. How about you Rockies fans? How you doing? Is there any Rockies passionate fans left? I know 2 of them. Well, hang on, 3 of them. Scott Pianowski's on, Major League Baseball writer. A lot to hit there. Yahoo Sports. Dom Izzo's going to drop by. His show is in Fargo, Hot Mic, WDAY, North Dakota State play-by-play man, FCS coverage from Dom Izzo, live tonight. And Brian Noe back in Fox Sports Radio, national host of Countdown to Kickoff. Brian Noe's reaction, I'm really interested in getting it, of how the teams did across the board in the NFL draft. Busy Tuesday show. Let's get popping from high school to college to the pros. We got you covered. Let's get you on if you want in. 605-720-1067, how you can join the program this Tuesday. 605-720-1067. That's the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline. Powered by the Pizza Ranch. Stop into the best buffet. You know that at 3809 East 10th Street in Sioux Falls. Also in Brandon. And 2 Pizza Ranch locations in Rapid City. Home of everyone's favorite buffet. Your locally owned and operated Pizza Ranch tonight. Hit us on the Pizza Ranch hotline and also the Barron's Wilson text line open. You want to text the show, you can do that. I get those right here. We'll get those on the show. 605-720-1067. That is your Barron's Wilson listener text line. I'm going to start the show with something interesting here, as we try to do every day, but something that I find very interesting. So this number comes out every year, and it seems like it's a huge number. It feels like every year, but it goes against the grain of what people talk about in sports today. How you become a professional athlete. How do you become a pro athlete? What's the narrative today? You got to go elite. You got to go early. You got to be in from the start. You got to take a look at one sport. You got to put time and commitment and dedication in. What am I talking about? This interesting numbers out today. They looked at all the NFL draft picks from the weekend, and they calculated how many of these guys played multiple sports. So this is this conversation we have now in the world of sports. If you're like me, I've got kids playing, many of you do, or have had. Can you play multiple sports and still be great in multiple sports? This day and age, what's the narrative? As I told you, get in early, focus early. That's the narrative. You got to put a lot of time in year-round in this sport, baseball, in this sport, soccer, in this sport, volleyball. I mean, the list goes on. That's what parents are being told today. So I always find this interesting when the numbers come out from the NFL draft of the weekend. How many NFL draft picks across the 7 rounds played multiple sports in high school? So here's some numbers. You can take this with you, and then we'll ask a question of the day as we get started on this Tuesday. So here's the big number. This NFL draft, 91% of the picks played multiple sports in high school. I mean, that is a huge number. 91% of NFL draft picks played multiple sports in high school. And here's what I hear a lot in high school from quite a few coaches. They tell me, I want multiple sport athletes. They really want you to be in track and field right now. For example, this time of year, if you're a football player, you should be in track. That's a major sport that's going to help you develop and get strong and speed and the whole thing. So I do hear from high school coaches, I want you to be in multiple sports. But the other side of this is, I also know that many high school coaches in certain sports want you to put in a ton of time in their sport. They say, well, you got to get in the gym. You got to get in the batting cage. You got to get to the field. You just got to put in the time, and that's going to set you apart. There's spring opportunities. There's summer opportunities. You can play the indoor sports all throughout the winter. And you know how this goes, guys. I mean, they say multiple sports is the way to go. Look at the NFL draft picks. 91% played multiple sports. So everybody's trying to tell you, and that's what people are discussing today when I saw these numbers. The online discussion today is, well, look at the NFL draft picks. Every year you see these types of numbers. This is a high one, 91%. But they say, I remember this the last couple of years. All of these NFL draft picks play multiple sports. So why is their sports specialization discussion so happening so much? Why are parents and athletes being told, well, you better specialize, you better focus in and dial in eventually by, I don't know, middle school age. You better know what you're going to play. That's what people think. But now the NFL draft picks say, we played multiple sports, so what's the real story? I'm going to tell you a couple of more things here. And one of my thoughts on this, probably unpopular, but for the first time ever, I'm going to go down fighting that I think this is right. It's probably unpopular what I'm going to say tonight. Probably unpopular because 91% of the NFL draft picks are multiple sport athletes. Well, so that's the ticket. That's the ticket. Let me get to my unpopular take. Just hang on, pins and needles, okay? This is the other one from the NFL draft multiple sport athletes stat. Nearly half, about 50%, almost 50% of the NFL draft picks through the 7 rounds played 3 sports, not just football and something else. They played 3. So let's take a look. Hey, how about our own Gray Zabel? You remember Gray Zabel out of Pierre? Football, basketball, baseball. Gray Zabel himself, football, basketball, baseball. And he's a first-round NFL draft pick. So what's the real story? Coaches say they like skill development. You've got to work on the sport. Coaches say we like multiple sports. It gets you well-rounded and you can learn a lot of things in different ways. So more kids are starting to, what? Play multiple sports, or more kids are starting to sports specialize? What would you say in 2025? I don't have those numbers in front of me. My guess is, just from how I see it, more kids are still specializing in sports today because there's this pressure and there's this campaign all throughout the year from each specific sport / program / coach. We got this opportunity and that opportunity, and you don't want to miss out. There's other kids that, I'm just going to focus on volleyball. I'm going to play high school volleyball. I'm going to play club volleyball. The club volleyball season's cranking right now. That club volleyball thing goes all year round, right? So the girls are playing high school volleyball, but then they get right into club volleyball. And I'm telling you, it seems like, well, I think I just have to stick with this sport. I can't balance volleyball and basketball, and it's just too much. So what should be the message? What should be the lesson? The lesson you would say is, hey, if 91% of NFL draft picks played multiple sports is the ticket. My unpopular opinion is what? I have to tell you, this seems like it's just easy. Hey, it's no problem. You can be an NFL player even if you play 3 sports like Gray Zabel. It's no problem. The deal is this. We have to be honest and say, you can be a pro in multiple sports. I get it. I'm not saying you can't. Here's the proof. All the NFL draft picks are. But the NFL draft picks are elite physical specimens. They aren't just my kids and your kids, unfortunately. They are elite physical athletes. That's my read on this. I think we love having a narrative Either way, by the way, sports specialization is the ticket. You have to stay in this thing. Oh, no. NFL draft picks get picked. 91% of them played multiple sports. That's the ticket. I'm just telling you, you can't get sucked into that scenario either. Everybody has their own path. And what I'm telling you is I had a teammate in high school who was a top NFL draft pick with the Baltimore Ravens. He was a multi-sport athlete. He was the best player on our football team. And guess what? He got drafted by the Ravens. He had a long career. Guess what? He was the best player on our basketball team. Guess what? He would have been the best player on our baseball team if he decided to keep it up. Because we played Little League baseball together. He was the best in Little League. He was the best in high school football. He was the best in high school basketball. He was a multi-sport athlete. He fell into the 91% of the NFL draft picks that just got picked were multi-sport athletes. It's great to be a multi-sport athlete. I'm a proponent of that. But we all don't have to think, how am I going to be a pro? How is my kid going to become a pro? Well, the only way, look at these NFL draft picks. It didn't hold them back. It didn't hold them back because they're the best of the best. I know that's like, well, so you're saying sports specialization's the only way? No, I'm saying it happens. It is the scenario that football is a different animal. These guys are the best physical specimens you can get. Gray Zabel, there's not a bunch of 6'4", 320-pound guys walking around here. They're just not. And so they are the best of the best. They can be in the other sports because their athleticism is off the charts. We're not talking about just the everyday South Dakota high school sports kid. So I don't love the sports specialization. One sport, year-round, all the time. Studies have shown bad for your health, physical capabilities, burnout. I mean, all of that stuff. But I'm not going to flip the script and say, well, I mean, in order to be a pro football player, the multi-sport aspect helped them become that. I don't know that. It obviously didn't hurt them because I believe they're the elite athletes in this world. They are the best in everything they do. From the physical side, they just have that gift. And it's not one of those, well, look at this. 67% were in track and field. Yeah, because they are strong and fast. They're like, try track and field. Wow, that guy's pretty fast. Yeah, he's an NFL player. Do you think that the elite athletes are excelling in the other sports, or it's the multiple sports that help you become a pro? That's my question of the day. A trick question. No, it's not a trick question, but it is an interesting one. And it's something that I thread the needle with. I really believe these NFL guys are the best of the best. It wouldn't matter if they played basketball or track. They would have got picked Thursday night. That's what I believe. Does it help you learn different things from a team side and learn different skills? Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, the multi-sport thing is the way to go. I've tried getting my kids to do that. I had an older daughter who did it for a long time and then couldn't quite make it, meaning had to kind of peel off in high school to one sport. I've got a younger daughter who's trying to do that multi-sport thing, running all the time. So I think that's the ticket. We all just can't expect, if I'm a multi-sport athlete, well, I could be a pro. Caitlin Clark was a multi-sport athlete for a while, played soccer, high school, and basketball. Then dialed in on basketball, and it seemed like that worked out okay. Could she have stuck in there with soccer? She would have been all-state. She led her team in goals. I saw this story when she was young, like a freshman. Led the team in goals in Iowa. Just an elite athlete. That's what I believe. The elite athletes, That's how they're making the NFL. It wasn't, I was in track, I was in this, I was in that, I made the NFL. There's a reason 91% of the NFL draft picks are multi-sport athletes from this year. They're untouchable. I mean, they're just unbelievably special. What do you say? 50% of the NFL draft picks played 3 sports in high school. Are the NFL players elite physical athletes? They just excel at everything? Or is this the multi-sport that helps them get to the NFL? That's what I want to know. 605-720-1067. Barron's Wilson text line on the Nate Brown Show. Question of the day. It's interesting. I love these numbers. Very interesting. 48% of them were 3-sport athletes. That's a good thing. And I'm not surprised. Like, people are like, oh, this is surprising. You could do other sports and still make the NFL. Have you looked at these guys? It's easy. Everything's easy. You know guys like that. It's just easy for them. Listener text, the best athletes are freaks of nature. There's just higher tiers of freaks in pro sports. Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, they're just ultimate freaks of nature. Listener text, the multi-sport athletes are great, but the NFL players, bigger, faster, stronger. That's why they excel. Okay? Let's go to the phones. Thanks for calling. You're live, and you go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Jim from Sioux Falls. Listening to your show today.
Jim, how you doing?
And good. And my take on this is that it's definitely the athlete in the person. You know, I don't think it matters what you're playing. If you're that elite, you're going to excel at probably all those sports.
I think so. Anything.
And then when you get to a certain level, all the training you're doing, the lifting you're doing, the running you're doing, you're kind of doing everything a basketball player would do, a baseball player would do if you're going out for football.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
The training programs nowadays are way different than when you and me were back in high school.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Jim.
They're creating these elite athletes, and they can excel at just about anything they want to be in.
No, I would agree with you. Thanks for getting in. I appreciate that. And that's not, it's not me saying if you sports specialize, that's the only way to be a pro. Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm not going to kill it. I don't love it. But I'm not going to kill it. If you're an elite swimmer and you got to do the swimming thing all the time, I'm not going to kill you on that. But I'm not going to categorize these NFL draft picks, 91% of them. They're multi-sport athletes. That's how you become a pro NFL player. I'm not buying that. Thanks for calling. You're live, and you go ahead.
Hey, Nate. Thanks for taking my call.
What do you say, man?
I think there's 2 sides to this. I think, one, obviously these people are super gifted, and, that's the best of the best. So, obviously they have great genetics. But also, I do think there's research out there that shows that multi-sport athletes, develop some of these traits by playing all of those sports. There's some development in there, too. They can develop skills. Obviously, some kids are super, super fast. They, no matter what they play, they're going to be fast. I agree with that 100%. But I do think that, you learn strategy in playing other sports and things like that, as well as, developing those skills.
I would buy that. Let's say, hey, I go out for track. Does track help me as an NFL prospect? Probably. Yeah. In many ways, right?
Yeah, you learn form running and learn how to, and, golf's a good example. There's,
I lost him there. Appreciate you getting on. 605-720-1067. Listener text here. Coaches, they're afraid of losing kids to other sports, so they say specialize in their sport. They're afraid of losing kids to other sports, so they say specialize in their sport. That's why I got a listener text on the text line. Yeah, there's some of that. I know that. I've been around some high schools. I worked in a school system and worked in college sports as well. So when I worked in a school system, there's some of that. Play my sport. Not that one, too. There's some high school coaches that compete against each other. Hate to break it to you. It is. Play my sport. We need you here. Well, no, I'm going to play football too. I need you to basketball. I want to play football. Yeah, there's some of that. Really interesting numbers out from the draft. A lot to cover tonight. Let's get to it. Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio, our first guest as we get going. National host of Countdown to Kickoff, joins us live next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Save big money on everything you need for your next project at Menards. Steelworks offers a wide selection of aluminum and steel materials for any project. Choose from durable steel angle iron to tubular steel and aluminum and steel sheets and rods that are built to last. Perfect for DIYers and professionals alike to get the job done right. Shop and save today on Steelworks products at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer at menards.com for even more great deals.
Save big money at Menards.
It seems like the cost of everything is going up, so it's nice to save a little dough when you can, especially for something you love to eat every day. Before I go grocery shopping, I print out a coupon for $1 off any Country Hearth, Village Hearth, or Artisan Hearth bread product. My favorite is Dakota Style 12 grain. My wife's breakfast go-to is a toasted Village Hearth English muffin. We can save $1 on each. Go to countryhearthbreads.com/coupons and print 1 or 2 out before your next shopping trip. And don't forget, Country Hearth, Village Hearth, and Artisan Hearth bread products are baked locally and delivered fresh daily.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson, McPherson Auction Company. On today's online-only auction, we are selling tools and equipment near Hermosa, South Dakota. 4 Amish-built new storage sheds, 7 storage containers, 4 20-foot, 3 40-footers, high-qual gates and panels, railroad ties. Here's a John Deere subsoiler and a New Holland manure spreader. Items are located at the Barber Ranch, 8.5 miles east of Highway 79, the Hart Ranch turnoff, Lower Spring Creek Road. Final auction preview 3 to 5 this afternoon. Auction begins closing at 6 p.m. For more auction details and to bid and buy, go to McPherson Auction.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows level off around 45 tonight under mainly clear skies. Winds out of the southwest 8 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow. Chance of rain showers. High temperatures reach up to 58. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow night. Slight chance of rain showers. Lows dip down to about 40. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently 68.
You want trucks? We've got trucks at Denny Menno Rapid Chevrolet. Shop our largest selection of new Chevy HD trucks in years. 13 2500s, 12 3500s, gas, diesel, and dualies, all with our exclusive $1,500 Denny Menno discount. Plus, get factory cash rebates or financing as low as 3.9% APR for 60 months. The trucks you want are at Denny Menno Rapid Chevrolet or DennyMennoRapidChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive. $18.37 per thousand finance regardless of down with qualified credit. Expires 4/30/25.
Hey golfers, have you experienced Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club? Golf Digest ranked Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club the #1 public course in South Dakota. Off Exit 17 in Spearfish, Elkhorn Ridge offers a golfing experience second to none. Play their 18-hole championship layout with your buddies. Stop into Miller Creek Pub for some drinks, or bring the family out for lunch and try out the new putting green right below Miller Creek Pub. Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club has it all. Book your next tee time at elkhornridgeresort.com.
Cadillac Jacks is Deadwood's exclusive home of the Roaring Riches Jackpot. Just be actively playing your favorite slot machine with your club card engaged for your chance to win. The Roaring Riches Jackpot starts at $7,500 and must hit by $10,000. Plus, you can keep up to the minute on the current Roaring Riches total on your Cadillac Jacks mobile app. Roaring Riches has already paid out $2 million. Anyone at any time on any spin. You could be the next to win. Only at Cadillac Jacks Gaming Resort.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show back on a Tuesday. Thanks for being a part of it. Great guest lineup tonight. We'll go to Dom Izzo coming up. North Dakota State play-by-play man. FCS coverage from Dom Izzo. His show's Hot Mic on WDAY. Out to Seattle tonight. Greg Bell's in. Seahawks beat writer. South Dakota's Gray Zabel gets drafted by the Seahawks first round. Greg Bell on Gray Zabel and the fit with the Seahawks and more coming up from Seattle. Brian Noe is in. Let's talk NFL draft overall. I want to get his take here. Brian Noe kicking off the show, Fox Sports Radio's Countdown host. Brian, what's going on tonight? How are you?
Man, I'm great. Nate Brown, good to be with you. You know, it's funny. I used to interview Greg Bell all the time when I did radio in Portland.
Oh.
And you might know this, but if you don't, he was in the military, and he's a big push-up guy.
Whoa.
I know it's shocking, but even to this day, like he could do, I don't know, to this day, maybe like 80 at once, something like that. Like he's legit, man. Greg Bell can crank out the push-ups over there.
Okay, that's a good side note. I'll bring that up. Hang on. Let me get into this draft. A lot to discuss. You love talking ball. I saw you commenting. What's the deal with Shedeur Sanders? What's going on? Are you thinking, Brian, that Shedeur Sanders should have been picked by some of these teams earlier? Everyone acted like, hey, we're solid at QB, man. I always hear there's no good QBs. Why does everybody think they have good QBs?
I have no explanation for it, Nate. I really don't. I understand these teams that think, well, we don't like how he carried himself in these pre-draft interviews. There are reports that he sandbagged a few interviews of teams that he didn't want to go to, so forth and so on. I do understand once it gets to the third round, and now all of a sudden you're thinking about a quarterback in a backup role, and is that the best path to go down? I get that thinking, but at the end of the day, Nate, you're talking about a first-round prospect at quarterback that you could get in the fourth round, you could take a stab at in the fifth round. Like these teams, the Colts, they have Anthony Richardson. He completed under 48% of his passes last year. And the Colts are like, nah, we're good. Like the Jets have Justin Fields, and they're like, nah, we're pretty solid right now. I just don't understand the idea of not just taking a shot on Shedeur. Is it perfect across the board? No. But he's accurate. He's tough. It's possible he turns out to be a good NFL quarterback. So I just don't understand these teams where typically draft after draft, prospects in the second round, they're getting drafted in the first round. You're over-drafting. This is the ultimate under-drafting of Shedeur Sanders, and I'm just surprised it took 144 picks for him to finally be off the board, and some QB-needy teams just acted like they were solid at the position when they are not.
How do you explain, like, even the Browns going, Dylan Gabriel, and now Shedeur Sanders? Huh?
There is no explanation, man. Like, the third-round selection of Dylan Gabriel, what are you doing? You just threw away a third-round pick, just like, throw it away. You could go back in the archives and just look at the talent that has come from the third round. You're talking Pro Football Hall of Famers sometimes that are third-round picks. And to just, like, throw one away, I don't understand at all what the Browns are thinking. If anything, you'd be better served using that third-round pick on Shedeur for the same thinking, right? Like, you just went through the Deshaun Watson debacle. If there's ever a franchise where most of the fan base is going to be like, hey, anybody's better than Deshaun, it's the Browns fan base, and yet they threw away a third-round pick and then eventually got Shedeur Sanders. They have 5 quarterbacks on their roster, Nate. They're going to have to get rid of 2 of them. I don't understand what's going through their heads right now.
Brian Noe on tonight, reaction to the Shedeur Sanders mess, Fox Sports Radio host of Countdown. So I did say, I'm not going to say starter right away. That's not going to happen. I believe Shedeur is going to play for the Browns. That's what I believe. I've followed him pretty closely. Will the Browns give him a shot? Because people are saying, look at the coach and the GM. They didn't even want him. So are they going to give him a shot? Is this a bad deal or a good deal for him?
Yeah, man, they did not seem like we are fired up. This is going to be great. What value? They're just like, it's almost like shoulder shrug. Jimmy Haslam said we kind of had to do that. Like that's the energy that they were talking with. So I just think that unless you believe Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett or Dylan Gabriel, they're going to play so well
where it's like you don't even consider putting Shedeur in there. Unless you think that's the case, they pretty much have to give him a shot. I'm not betting on Flacco or Pickett or Dylan Gabriel to go out there and just you can't even open the door toward the idea of, hey, how about Shedeur? Maybe give him a shot. I just don't foresee them playing so well that you aren't thinking about giving Shedeur a crack. So I'm with you. I think he gets a crack at it at some point this season.
Okay, I want to get your read on this scenario with the NFL draft, the prank call. So the one to Shedeur was the Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator's son. So he called and apologized, the whole thing. The AP's reporting the other prank calls that were made weren't connected to that situation. So the NFL's going, this database that we sent out, this personnel thing, it got sent out to a lot of folks. Shedeur's number's on there. All these rookie players are on there. What should the NFL be doing here? Is there a fine or something like this for the Falcons D coordinator or for the Falcons? Let's start there.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I'd be fine with that. I think that, let's start with this. It's just totally mean-spirited to do something like that. I get it that these are some young kids, and in the moment you think it's funny, and ha-ha, we tricked them. But if you take a step back, I'll never forget, Nate, I went to a Notre Dame football game years ago, and I was a young kid, and Notre Dame wasn't playing well. They were really good at the time, and everybody was booing them. And I didn't know any better, so I just went along with the crowd, and I was just kind of booing under my breath. I was giving it a test drive. I'd never done it before. And I'll never forget, I can feel my dad leaning down now, and he'd say, how would you like it if you were out there playing and they were doing that to you? And I never forgot that. Like, as a young kid, you just don't think like that at times when you should. And if you flip this around, instead of just your enjoyment and you got a couple of laps, think about this is Shedeur's moment. He's worked so hard, and he thinks this is a real call. And he's telling his friends, hey, I think this is it. I think this is it. And then it's a fake call? Like, that's just so mean-spirited. It's such a lame thing to do. I think it's stupid. There was an outcry of, you should press charges. It's a prank phone call. Like, what are we talking about here? That part is dumb, too. But, I would have no problem with a fine, some type of punishment for the guardian. That's the way it goes. But it's just a young kid doing something stupid and not thinking about the other person on the other side of the phone call. So hopefully these kids have learned a lesson and they're not as mean-spirited going forward, because that's just not cool at all.
One more hitter. J.J. McCarthy met the Vikings media for the first time since coming back from his torn meniscus and this rehab run. J.J. McCarthy said today, I feel like I'm ready to be the starter. I'm ready to be the starter. What do you say about J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings getting going?
Man, that's one of the more interesting teams this season, Nate. It seems as of now, unless there's a Rodgers curveball somewhere down the road, that it's going to be J.J. McCarthy's show. And as a first-year starter, and think about the expectations, Nate. Like, this was a Vikings team that was one win away of being a 1 seed in the NFC, right? If they beat the Lions in Week 18, that's how close they were. They went 14-3. So there are high expectations for the Vikings, and that's not easy as a first-year starter who's basically a rookie in terms of on-field reps, right, for JJ. So he's going to be expected by a lot of the fan base to hit the ground running. And that's going to be tough to do. So he's got a lot of weapons around him. There's no doubt about that. He's got Kevin O'Connell. He's stepping into a favorable position talent-wise. But in terms of expectations, it is rare, Nate, that you have a first-year starter and the team expectations are through the roof.
Yes.
That's not often the case. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on him expectation-wise, even though he has a lot of talent around him that will be helpful. The expectations to see how he manages that this season, that's going to be really, really interesting to watch.
Brian Noe popping on, getting us going. His show is Countdown on Fox Sports Radio. You can hear it right here on the weekend. Brian, good to have you, man. Thanks for the time.
Always, Nate. Great to hang out with you. And, Greg Bell is inspiring me. I'm going to try to get to at least, 40 push-ups at once and be half the man that Greg Bell is. How about that?
Good luck to you. I want to get a Brian No Greg Bell push-up contest going sometime. It sounds interesting. Greg Bell's coming up from Seattle, the beat writer for the Seahawks, who might be the push-up champion beat writer. We'll get to him. Gray Zabel gets drafted by the Seahawks. Hey, by the way, on the Vikings thing, J.J. McCarthy got introduced today. I'm ready to be the starter. This is one of the most intriguing stories in the NFL this year. And Brian just hit on it. People are overlooking this. The Vikings are expected to be the real deal. 14 wins last year. And this is a stacked team now even more. All the money they spent in the offseason. And so this is the biggest risk you've ever seen for this Vikings organization. Don't tell me about the Kirk Cousins risk. I mean, you had a history there. You have nothing. This is the biggest risk the Vikings have taken. And I'm telling you, it's going to be very interesting for the Vikes. Is J.J. McCarthy ready? He says he's ready. It's a 14-win team. What do you Vikings fans want out of J.J.? What if he goes 9 wins? Is that good enough? I'm going to think it's not. And Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah made this call to run with J.J. I said it was a risk. It's a huge risk. Huge. Dom Izzo is going to join us next. North Dakota State play-by-play man. His show is Hot Mic, WDAY, live from Fargo. Great guest, Dom Izzo, on the way.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Military, first responders, teachers, Renewal by Andersen is offering a heartfelt thank you with its first ever appreciation sale. 20% off every window and door, no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. Plus an additional 9% off if purchased on the initial consultation. That's 29% off. Military, first responders, teachers, this is a limited time offer, so do not wait. Please book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com.
Business has its rewards as well as its challenges. It means being the first one in the door in the morning and turning off the lights when you leave at night. Your business is unique, and you need a bank that understands your needs. You deserve the best. You need a financial partner that is invested in your success. You need Pioneer Bank and Trust. Don't settle. Pioneer. Pioneer Bank and Trust. Local.
Pioneer Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Whether you're a pro or a Joe, a weekend warrior or a gardening great, Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine is here when you need us. Nobody plans an injury, but when people throughout the Black Hills and beyond suffer a setback, Monument Health Orthopedics is here to provide comprehensive medical care. Our team of board-certified orthopedic surgeons and specialists is dedicated to helping patients regain the quality of life they've lost due to an injury, arthritis, or joint wear and tear. Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports.
Ready to be part of something big? Meet the Rapid City Sports Commission, the powerhouse behind sports in Rapid City. The commission focuses on bringing regional and national tournaments, supporting homegrown events, and creating opportunities for our kids. But it's not just games, it's a win-win for all of us. Youth sports fuel our economy. Hosting events in Rapid City means out-of-town families shop, dine, and stay with us, which boosts sales tax revenues too. To get in on the action, visit rcsportscommission.com, where we're all about the hustle.
This isn't just the sound of a legendary Brunswick pool table. It's the sound of families about to make memories together. And while this may sound like the hum of a spa, listen closely, and you'll hear backyard fun for years to come. So while Splash City's guarantee of quality sure sounds good, we know quality time sounds even better.
Who wants another burger? Splash City, 1024 West Omaha, across from Connects in Rapid City.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, also streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
Hey, welcome back in on Fox Sports Radio. Thanks for being here. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live, Tuesday edition of The Nate Brown Show. You can stream us all the time on X, at Nate Brown Show. Follow the show and watch us live at Nate Brown Show on X. YouTube channel is there as well. Welcome in on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and help us be cool in the YouTube world, would you? The Nate Brown Show on YouTube. Dom Izzo's on tonight. Appreciate his time. Great to have him all the time. North Dakota State play-by-play. His show is Hot Mike, WDAY. Dom Izzo back on. Dom, how are you?
I'm good, Nate. Thanks for the invite, bud. How you been?
I'm doing well. Appreciate your time and wanted to hit you up on the NDSU draft picks. One of South Dakota's own, Gray Zabel. You got him to go to NDSU, and, man, he turns out to be a player. Talk about what you think Gray Zabel's going to be for the Seahawks. How good was he?
He was outstanding in Fargo, and that's not breaking news to anybody listening to your show in South Dakota as a All-American. It's funny, I put up a photo on Twitter today, actually, from the 2022 season, and now the entire Bison starting offensive line in that game are all in the NFL. The starting quarterback is, and the starting tailback is, which is just kind of remarkable about what's happened in this town with football. But Gray killed it, Nate, going all the way back to the Senior Bowl. That was really the coming out party. And we've seen this before where the Bison have gone there. Carson Wentz had it happen. Christian Watson had it happen. Cody Mauch had it happen. I'm forgetting a couple other guys have gone to Mobile and killed it. And Gray did that. And the next thing you know, he was going from a middle second-round pick to late in the first round. And then on draft day, I got a call from one of his representatives saying, keep an eye on the latest mock draft from Daniel Jeremiah, and that one had him at 13 to the Dolphins, which is the highest I had seen him yet. I'm like, okay, this is happening. And clearly the Seahawks were always out there, though, and I don't know how much you followed it, but the Seahawks were always kind of tied to Gray, and it ended up falling in their lap at 18 and ends up being the highest drafted FCS offensive lineman in history.
Do you think the Vikings, if they had any more picks at all, they would have jumped up there? They were hoping, I think, maybe to get him late.
They didn't have the kind of ammunition to move, but I think there was a hope and a prayer that somehow he was going to fall to 24. But after seeing that mock draft on Thursday morning, I'm like, there's no way the Vikings are going to be able to get him at 24, and obviously that ended up being the case.
Okay, so Cam Miller's the other guy now. No, yeah. I've been a fan of Cam Miller. Now, South Dakota sports fans say, oh, give me a break. No, I just like he was a gamer. He just won games. I mean, he just was a player. I don't know how to describe it, but I was a little surprised. I'm like, well, he's going to be a NFL draft pick here, and I know it was late, but the Raiders go with Cam Miller. What did you think of Miller's pro prospects?
It definitely got better as the season went along. It actually started that first game at Colorado, and we were all out there looking all the talk, and I was part of it. It was Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, and as it turns out, Nate, Shedeur Sanders was drafted one round in front of Cam. I mean, you think about that now. Yeah. That's going to be an unbelievable story for years down the road. But Cam's game at Colorado, he said to me, that's where he believed he could be an NFL player, and he was fantastic in that game. Deion Sanders said afterwards in the post-game press conference that, hey, their quarterback was really good. Their quarterback got us down the field, and we couldn't we couldn't make plays. You know, they didn't throw to the outside for good reason. Number 12 was out there, and he was the number 2 overall pick in the draft. But the throws over the middle, Cam was able to do that. He moved with his legs, and I thought as the year went along, the game against South Dakota State at the Dome in October when he did the game-winning drive in the Dakota Marker game, and then clearly the 2 last games, the semifinal win over the Jacks and the national championship win over Montana State, were great. He actually told me that this morning, I had him on my show, sorry for the shameless self-plug, but Cam said this morning to me that the Raiders GM, of all the things they wanted to talk about in the pre-draft process, was the long touchdown run when he went untouched against Montana State at the national championship game. How did this happen? So of all the plays they wanted to go through, he said that's the Raiders GM wanted to talk to him about that one.
That was a big one to me. The Raiders take North Dakota State quarterback Cam Miller in the 6th round. You're not Mel Kiper, Dom, I hate to tell you, but you're not an NFL draft analyst. But I'm going to ask you then. Mark Gronowski goes to Iowa. He's going to play a year at Iowa. Is Mark Gronowski getting picked this time next year?
I think so. I think, he's going to go and try and help his. Obviously, he was banged up, as we found out at the end of the season, and can go and get paid pretty well, and then go help his draft prospects. I think with the weapons he could have at Iowa, I think he could have a really, really good year. I think he was trending in that direction anyway, Nate. Prior to getting hurt, he was going to get drafted. He was the guy ahead of Cam, I think, in a lot of draft boards as the season got going. That Gronowski was going to pick right in the range where Cam Miller was. So I think for Jackrabbit fans and now to be Hawkeye fans, keeping an eye out, I really believe that Gronowski will. He's got the game for it that NFL GMs are looking after, that he could be a draft pick this time next year.
Dom Izzo's on tonight. His show is Hot Mike. He did have Cam Miller on today on North Dakota State play-by-play man. One more FCS guy. Same team, Raiders, take Tommy Mellott. We saw him at Montana State. His speed's off the charts. His measurables, they were off the charts. He's like a slot guy. He's going to be like Julian Edelman. Is he going to make it?
I think he will. His athleticism, Nate, is fantastic. I always thought he was a great football player. I didn't think he was a great quarterback in all those. And it's unbelievable how these two guys have been linked since 2021 in the national championship game, the epic playoff game with the Bozeman block in Bozeman in 2023, and then obviously the national championship game. But Mellott's a great athlete. Jackrabbit fans know that from the times they've seen Tommy play. I think he can make the most of that. He ran a 4.39 at his pro day, which got everybody talking, including most of the NFL draft media, about, hey, that Tommy Mellott's going to move to and maybe you mentioned the Edelman role. It's going to be fascinating. I mentioned it this morning, that first or second preseason game in August when Cam Miller is throwing a pass to Tommy Mellott. People's heads are going to explode in Fargo and Bozeman.
I know, that's going to be wild. Interesting to watch. Okay, here's something I want to talk. NDSU has had some players transfer, some key players here. USD just had 5 starters transfer. Yeah. Big-time players here for USD. I just saw this open letter at Football Scoop. Football Scoop just published a letter from a college football player. He didn't sign his name to it. It was anonymous. It's from a major program. He said the NIL and transfer portal is destroying college football. This is from a player. What do you say?
It's hard to argue that. I think for fans, certainly in Fargo, Brookings, Vermilion, Bozeman would all probably, of a certain generation, probably tend to agree with that. I don't know if I would go so far as to say destroy it. I think for this level, Nate, it makes it awfully hard to support it consistently and compete, frankly. I mean, you have to have some unbelievable depth. I frankly thought South Dakota would be the number 2 team in the country heading into this season, knowing full well what they were bringing back and going to take a shot at that. Even Bauman was going to come back, and now his entire offensive line is gone. 2 of his outstanding weapons are gone. A couple guys on defense that were really good are gone. That's where you find, I mean, the Bison have been able to survive this because they've had unbelievable depth, and yet still they've lost guys, and it's been hard to overcome. They have done it, but only because they've had unbelievable depth. I can understand that letter. I wouldn't go so far as to say, because I totally support the player movement. I totally support, and I have players getting paid, but the NCAA did no favors of putting up any guardrails on this, on NIL, when it got started 4 years ago. They said, okay, it's just going to happen, and now here we are. And now they're begging Congress to get involved. And I'm not a great political mind, but I think they've got some other fish to fry rather than trying to wrap their arms around what's going on in college athletics right now. I do think whenever the House settlement comes to a fruition, that maybe we'll get some more reins on this thing. But the hay's out of the barn for the most part on that. I don't see this getting. It's not getting any better for the mid-major schools. Schools at the top of the FCS are going to keep losing their best players. It's a rarity for guys like Gray Zabel and Cam Miller to stay, and you have to enjoy that. Frankly, right now, sorry, Nate, I'm going on too long here, but if you get a guy to stay for 3 years, you celebrate that and champion that as far as you can, because I think that's the going right now. You get a guy for 3, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, I was so happy when Tucker Kraft said, I'm staying at South Dakota State.
Yep.
Mark Gronowski stayed really a long time and just took 1 year at Iowa here. So
he's a 4-year. He's a Jackrabbit. He was there for 4 years. Same with Kraft. Same thing. I mean, they're Jackrabbits. There's no disputing, especially for Gronowski. He's a Jackrabbit. He'll go into the SDSU Hall of Fame. There shouldn't be any equivocation about that whenever that happens.
Yeah, and in this world, that's not always the easiest choice, and those guys stuck it out with their programs. Dom Izzo on tonight, talking NDSU. A couple of guys get in, including South Dakota's Gray Zabel. NDSU play-by-play, and his show is called Hot Mic. Check it out. He's on Twitter at Dom Izzo, WDAY. Dom, thanks for the time, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Nate. Good to hear from you, bud.
Appreciate your time. Dom Izzo tonight on South Dakota Sports Talk Show on Fox Sports Radio. His show is Hot Mic, WDAY out of Fargo. Coming right back on the Nate Brown Show. Let's expand on this letter. I just saw this. So footballscoop.com has an anonymous college football player. He wrote a long letter to college football. He said, this is how the game is being destroyed. And he really targets one specific thing. Next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Hey, Sioux Falls sports fans, there's a great new sports bar in Sioux Falls, Boston's Restaurant and Sports Bar on West Russell Street in the Ramada Water Park Hotel. If you want to watch games, UFC, they've got it, wall-to-wall TVs, and the best part, great food. Gourmet pizza at Boston's, tons of wing options, great burgers, and a lot more. Bring the family, bring the team, bring your crew to the new Boston's Restaurant and Sports Bar in Sioux Falls on West Russell Street. Plus, you can order online for lunch or dinner. Just go to bostons.com.
Okay, who's ready to fish? Fleet Farm's all stocked and ready to go with the hottest brands to help you gear up for the season. Like the latest lines and lures from Berkley, Fluger rods and reels, Northland tackle, bobbers, and bait, all sorts of Senko worms, the best in fish finders from Humminbird, Lowrance, and Garmin, St. Croix rods, new releases from Abu Garcia, and more. Stop in and check out the latest fishing gear from all your favorite brands at the best prices guaranteed at Fleet Farm.
The all-new Mr. Liquor 2 announces their first-ever Tacos and Tequila Festival. On Saturday, May 3rd, kick off Cinco de Mayo weekend with 6 food trucks on site and serving right on the outside patio. Slip inside the campfire grill and grab a margarita, and bring it along as you enjoy free samples of various tequilas throughout the store. It'll be a party you can't miss. The first-ever Tacos and Tequila Fest, Saturday, May 3rd at the new Mr. Liquor 2, off Catron next to Walmart in Rapid City.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows level off around 45 tonight under mainly clear skies. Winds out of the southwest 8 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow. Chance of rain showers. High temperatures reach up to 58. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow night. Slight chance of rain showers. Lows dip down to about 40. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently 68.
Sprockets Fun Foundry. Joy and fun for everyone. Immerse yourself in another world with virtual reality. Play the newest arcade games, all the lanes. Sprockets Fun Foundry. Always family-friendly fun. Something for everyone. Birthdays and parties. Online at Sprockets.fun. Sprockets Fun Foundry. Joy and fun for everyone.
Hi, this is Dr. Dan Jensen at Physio. We want to be your trusted partner for physical therapy, athlete development, and sports rehab. As the official strength and conditioning partners for Stevens, Central, Douglas, and the Rapid City Rush, our team at Physio is building the best athletes in the Black Hills. If you have an athlete in the family, we offer long-term athlete development at affordable prices for middle and high school students. We also have the only board-certified sports PT in Rapid City. At our brand new facility, Physio is ready to help you perform at your best. One-on-one physical therapy, athlete development, and sports rehab, all at one place. Get started at bhphysio.com.
Ever dreamed of building something amazing? Builders First Source in Rapid City, Spearfish, and Hot Springs is your go-to building materials partner. Whether you're building new or giving new life to an old space, we provide step-by-step guidance from drafting and cabinetry design to lifelike visualization and top-quality materials. It's your vision, and we're here to make it real. Visit BLDR.com. Builders First Source, your Black Hills partner in building every step of the way.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
Hey, welcome back in. Glad you're here. Appreciate it. The Nate Brown Show live, Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You got every show there live right now. And archive shows if you missed some of the guests every night. Go to the Nate Brown Show on YouTube. Just search The Nate Brown Show, and you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. Greg Bell's coming up from Seattle, Seahawks beat writer for the News Tribune, longtime sports writer. Greg Bell on the Seahawks taking Gray Zabel, Jalen Milroe out of Alabama, Kalen DeBoer's QB. Greg Bell coming up. Scott Pianowski's in tonight talking Major League Baseball. Can the Twins get back in this 5 games out? Struggle to start the year. Now they've won 6 out of their last 7. Rockies are done. It's over. It's 4 wins already. Oh, what a deal. Scott Pianowski, Major League Baseball, Yahoo Sports. That's coming up on the Nate Brown Show tonight. 605-720-1067 is our number. 605-720-1067. That's how you get in touch with the program. Lister text on the Barons-Wilson text line. Lister text, I wonder why Mel Kiper took it so personally that Sanders fell to the 5th round. It got cringeworthy. I like the passion. I like the passion from Mel. Yeah, he was fired up. Fired up, man. I like the passion from Mel. I'm not sure, though. He was a Shedeur Sanders fan, and Mel got a little wound up. By the way, because of that, though, here's a new number out today. The NFL draft had really nice ratings all weekend long. It wasn't just Thursday night. So why do you think the NFL draft had nice ratings all weekend? Nobody cares about the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. We don't care. Why did everybody hang in there? Well, you know why. The Shedeur Sanders mess and the Mel Kiper meltdown probably combined did quite a thing for the ratings. Okay, I want to go to this, and then we'll get into the next hour. But I want to go to this letter. We have guests on this show from Football Scoop. A couple of guys we really like. John Bryce, national writer. Zach Barnett, national writer. Doug Samuels, great contributor, footballscoop.com. It's a great college football site. If you don't go there, I encourage you. They're first on a lot of coaching news and all that stuff. So they just penned a letter from an anonymous college football player. This is from a college coach who submitted this open letter from one of his players. And it's a letter to Dear College Football. Dear College Football. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can go there tonight if you want. I'm going to give you some takeaways here. This is from a player. Sorry, college football. The portal and NIL has changed everything. It's taken the focus off of you and the team and put the focus on individuals and our own personal gain. Young players who came to college for the love of the game, the program to pursue an education, are being seduced and distracted by money and fame. The young men are being exploited by big money schools. They are being hounded by slick agents who operate with no rules, guardrails, or anything. Their focus is turned by these sales pitches away from the team that invested in them and helped develop their skills and placed on the monetization of their abilities. So that's one chunk from a player, gives you a little insight, because more people are talking about what's really happening now in the college world, in the portal and the NIL. The agents have taken over. So I've seen this more and more. This player writes about it today, but I've seen reports on this more and more. And we'll continue to have guests on about this that have a little more insight. The agents are now in this money world, and there's no rules, there's nothing, and they're exploiting the players. You can say, oh, the players, they can make their own decisions. Well, the agents, they'll contact the players over and over and over, and then if the players say, no, I'm good at South Dakota, I'm going to stay at USD, these guys invested in me, I'm going to stay here. Well, then they'll contact the parents. Do you understand that you could make this much money right now? And it just goes to our world. What does our world want? Money. We all want it. That's the only reason they're making these decisions. It's for nothing else. It's not to get to the NFL. It's not to get to a better program. It's only money. You say, well, that's what my mom used to say. Well, it's only money. Yeah, that's what it is. And it's killing it, according to this player who just wrote this letter. This is how the game is being destroyed. He said the game is being destroyed because of the agents, the money. That's the only thing controlling the players now. Let's see. I want to get into this. Speaking of NIL, okay? I got to get into this. This plays on what we just talked about, this letter. Is it destroying? Is NIL destroying? That's what this player says in the letter today at Football Scoop. But there was a major college analyst today. I just watched him today. Major college sports analyst said, well, the NIL is actually balancing out college athletics for the better in certain ways. I'm going to get into the who said that and what you think of it coming up. Hang on.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Military, first responders, teachers, Renewal by Anderson is offering a heartfelt thank you with its first ever appreciation sale. 20% off every window and door, no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. Plus an additional 9% off if purchased on the initial consultation. That's 29% off. Military, first responders, teachers, this is a limited time offer, so do not wait. Please book your free estimate right now at rbarapidcity.com.
Deadwood has so many options thanks to Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort. Wake up with the trusted taste of Starbucks or sit down to a full breakfast at Best Brews. Looking for lunch? Build a wonderfully fresh sandwich from Jersey Mike's. Grab some quick and cheesy goodness from Pizza Hut or pull up a chair in Patty O'Neill's Irish Pub. Need something a little more intimate for dinner? Well, Snitches is all the buzz with an evolving menu of chef-designed culinary creations. There's something for everyone to eat at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort, located on historic Main Street in Deadwood.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
If you're in the market for a vehicle right now, you probably have noticed it's sometimes hard to find the right one. That's where Summit Automotive Group steps in. Stacy and Matt and their staff working hard to get a great selection of pre-owned vehicles at affordable prices. At Summit Automotive, they have a different outlook on selling you a vehicle. You'll experience stress-free shopping, friendly, honest service with no high-pressure sales gimmicks. Before you buy, drop by East Highway 44, SummitAutoGRP.com. We're talking with Rihanna Wickett at Elevate Performance Physical Therapy with an Elevate Performance Health Minute. So if somebody has an athlete, Rihanna, who they suffer a concussion, they come and see you, what can you do for them?
We want to see them as soon as possible to make sure that we can make their return to sport as safe as possible. So we can look at proprioception, balance, vestibular work, and cervical strength.
When they try to get back up to speed, you said a treatment plan, very important as they return to sport.
Making sure that the athlete has a skilled plan moving forward so that they don't return to sport way too early, making sure that the return to contact is an appropriate timing.
And the goal of that is you do not want to have another concussion getting back to it too early.
Correct. If we have another concussion too early, the athlete is at a huge risk of further problems down the road, including anything with their school or memory or continuous headaches.
For concussion treatment, get started at ElevatePerformanceSD.com.
One more time.
This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
Welcome back in. Thanks for being a part of the program. I appreciate that. Really do. Hope you've had a great day. Tuesday edition of the show. It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show, the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Radio. Stream us all the time on X, at Nate Brown Show. Follow the show if you're not, at Nate Brown Show on X. Two guests coming up. Great guys. Scott Pianowski on tonight, Major League Baseball writer for Yahoo Sports. We'll talk Twins, rebounding. I know it's a long season, but are you more interested in the Twins now? They're coming back a little bit. How about the Rockies? Just a free fall, an absolute mess. Yahoo Sports, Scott Pianowski in. Greg Bell is on from Seattle. What do the Seahawks think of Gray Zabel? Why'd they go with Gray? Also, Jalen Milroe, they take him rather early. Greg Bell coming up, Seahawks beat writer, covers the NFL, thenewstribune.com. He is straight ahead. Okay, so I just was talking about NIL and how one player in college football wrote a letter today saying it's destroying the sport. It's destroying the sport. It's all money. That's it. Kids are making decisions not for the betterment of themselves. He says it's all about the money, not to get in a better program, get in a better situation, a better fit, a whole thing. So you can take that how you want. What is NIL doing to college sports in general? That college football player's letter was focusing on, he thinks it's not helping the individual outside of the money instantly. So the instant gratification. What is it doing to college sports in general? The old school yelling at the clouds guy like me would say, yes, it is ruining the sport. It's destroying the sport. But guess what? Jay Billis, I'm watching Jay Billis today. College basketball analyst. I think Jay's pretty smart. I mean, I think Jay says some good stuff, and you hear him on Dan Patrick and stuff like that. So I followed Jay Billis, a Dookie, by the way. Jay Billis did a segment today and said name, image, and likeness dollars are actually providing better balance and helping the parity of college sports. He said, when it was just scholarships, the big dogs could, have all the best players, and that's it. You just went to Kansas and Duke and places like that because everything was quote-unquote even, but I needed to get to the best program, the best brand. So his take today was that name, image, and likeness has balanced it out, meaning if you were going to be the third best player at Kansas, like third off the bench, I should say, third off the bench at Kansas, that player can now go to, Wyoming and be the star player. can go to Wichita State and be the star player. Is that right? I'm thinking about this going, so is NIL, did it balance out? Let's look at college basketball. Jay, I just looked at the tournament. All the number 1 seeds advanced all the way. So, I mean, we're talking the big-time programs, I think, have the most money. Let me take a look at college football. Let's see that for an example. Just off the top of my head. The Nate Brown Show, just off the top of my head. Ohio State spent over $20 million. They won the national championship. Ohio State got all the great players with money. So you could say you might be able to, well, it's balancing it out. I think that it might be balancing it out. I'm here to tell you, this is just me. The big dogs were in charge before. The big dogs have all the money now. I don't think it's balancing it out. I don't think you're going to see San Diego State and Florida Atlantic make the Final Four anymore. That was just a few years ago. San Diego State and Florida Atlantic made the Final Four, right? You think that's going to happen now? I mean, all the guys I'm talking to on this program say, well, the big dogs have huge amounts of money. Just huge amounts of money. So, and by the way, I'm a Duke fan. Jay Billis is a Duke guy, and I don't know why he's going from this, just because I think he's like, well, this isn't so bad. It's good for the players, and it actually provides balance for the college sports landscape. I don't think it does. Are you going to see a smaller football program make a run? How did that work for SMU? Oh, SMU, they have NIL money. It balanced them out a little bit, and they got their doors blown off by Penn State. So you could say it kind of helps. How did it work for Boise State? It's not working. The big dogs are going to have all the money, and they're going to win. It's not going to provide balance. I don't know where Jay Billis is getting that, but that's his take today. It's going to provide balance. By the way, let me ask that question of the day. Let's throw it out there. Let's do it on the Nate Brown Show to the audience tonight. 605-720-1067. That's our number, the Pizza Ranch Studio hotline, the Barron's Wilson text line as well. Do you think NIL money being offered balances out the competition? And I'm not talking about the SDSUs, USDs, NDSUs. They can't compete. It kills them. I mean, it's a total killer for them. I'm talking about the programs that are kind of in the mix. The SMUs. Oh, now that they can offer money, it's going to help the SMUs. It just helps them be okay. So they're not just getting totally killed. But then when they have to play the big dogs with the real NIL money, Penn State, it's over. I mean, that's it. Do you think the NIL money being offered has balanced out the competition, or does it help the biggest programs get even more dominant? That's my question of the day on the Nate Brown Show tonight. 605-720-1067. Does it help the biggest programs get even more dominant, or does it balance out the competition? What do you say about NIL today in college sports? 83% of you voting. This is a heavy vote. 83% of you voting on Twitter. The select few just get stronger. 17% of you with Jay Billis. There's more balance in competition. That's what I thought. 83% of you, the select few get stronger. I think that's right. There might be every now and then a program that, oh, we got NIL money, we're going to come out swinging here. Good luck. Ohio State's still there. They'll be there. That's it. Coming right back with Greg Bell, Seahawks beat writer for the News Tribune. What do the Seahawks think of Gray Zabel, Pierce, South Dakota kid going to Seattle in the first round? We'll break that pick down and more. Greg Bell, great writer, coming up next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk.
There's nothing like it. not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Military, first responders, teachers, Renewal by Anderson is offering a heartfelt thank you with its first ever appreciation sale. 20% off every window and door, no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. Plus an additional 9% off if purchased on the initial consultation. That's 29% off. Military, first responders, teachers, this is a limited time offer, so do not wait. Please book your free estimate right now at rbarapidcity.com.
Catch, cast a line, pitch a tent, or just look good doing it. Shields Rapid City has your gear. From athletic clothing from your favorite team, cold weather gear to keep you warm, to the best camping selection this side of the Black Hills, and the most stylish and functional women's outerwear and footwear. Shields has the widest selection of the best brands in the business. So when you're ready to get out, get in the game, or get going, get to Shields. Shields, we're right there with you at Rushmore Crossing in Rapid City.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows level off around 45. Tonight, under mainly clear skies, winds out of the southwest 8 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected. Tomorrow, chance of rain showers. High temperatures reach up to 58. Partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow night, slight chance of rain showers. Lows dip down to about 40. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently 68.
It's the trade-in sell-down event at Spearfish GMC Cadillac, and that means lot-wide deals on our entire lineup of locally sourced pre-owned vehicles. Choose from all makes and models, trucks, cars, SUVs, and certified pre-owned, all priced below market for unbeatable value. Whether you're trading in or trading up, now is the time to save big at Spearfish Motors. Visit us today or browse anytime at spearfishmotors.com.
We all know life's busy, and if you get sick, you can get behind pretty quick. That's where Black Hills Urgent Care comes in. No appointments needed, no long waits, just fast, affordable care to get you feeling better quicker. Black Hills Urgent Care has 2 locations in Rapid City on Haynes Avenue and Mountain View Road. You can simply check in online at bhucare.com. That's with the letter U, bhucare.com. When you need care, see the team at Black Hills Urgent Care, the faster way to get better.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate.
Hey, welcome back on the Nate Brown Show live, Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, driven by Summit Automotive Group. When it comes to pre-owned in South Dakota, start at SummitAutoGRP.com. Experience car buying built around you. The Summit difference. SummitAutoGRP.com. Selection right there on your phone right now. Greg Bell is on tonight. Welcome him back in. Covers the Seahawks and the NFL. TheNewsTribune.com. And Greg's just going to get a bunch more South Dakota sports fans to follow him. With Gray Zabel out of Pierre, South Dakota, going to Seattle in the first round. Find him on Twitter at GBellSeattle. Greg, welcome back on. How are you?
I'm well, Dane. I'm well, yeah. I'll hear a lot from the Dakotas the way the Seahawks are going.
Yeah, I believe that. Okay. I got a first question to ask you. This is from one of my previous guests who said he had you on his show when he was in Portland. and he said, you got to ask Greg Bell if he's still a push-up guy. Are you a push-up guy?
That's back to my days as an Army officer. He used to tease me about that quite a bit. I still do them occasionally. I don't do them quite forever. I used to have to do it as part of my job, but yeah, that's where that comes from.
Okay, I wanted to get your read on that. No daily push-ups for Greg Bell? You're daily push-ups.
Not quite daily. I do them routinely, but no, not quite as often. I'm in my mid-50s now, Nate. We get older. Our priorities change.
I'm not messing around with you. I know that, okay? Let me get into this. So Seattle takes Gray Zabel. He was projected maybe to go as high as 13 to the Dolphins. He goes to Seattle. What's the overall consensus on that pick?
Well, they love his versatility, and they love the fact that he can play any position on the interior line as well. I mean, he was a tackle, as you all know, most of all in college at North Dakota State, but yet played guard, played center, and well at the Senior Bowl, where the Seahawks head coach and GM were both there watching that. They talked to him there. They talked to him during the pre-draft combine and pre-draft process. They need guard, and it was such an obvious need. Both guard positions went through 3 right guards last year. The Seahawks left guard last year was Laken Tomlinson, very ineffective, let him go after 1 year, 32-year-old veteran. And they're not set at center either. And so that's what Zabel can do, is they think he can play all 5 positions in the NFL. And it's unusual for the Seahawks to draft that need, that position, in that round. Zabel is the first interior offensive lineman the Seahawks have taken in the first round since 2001, some guy named Steve Hutchinson, who ended up being a Hall of Famer. He is also, Zabel is the first lower division player, not from the Football Bowl subdivision or Power 5, the first-round pick by Seattle from a lower division since 1999. So they broke a lot of their previous draft habits with him, which underscores how big of a need it was. Steve Hutchinson, incidentally, the Hall of Famer, now a consultant who does offensive line scouting and evaluations for the Seahawks front office, vetted Gray Zabel, met with him in the pre-draft process at Senior Bowl, and came away very impressed with him. And Steve Hutchinson's impressions of Gray Zabel is a large reason why Gray Zabel is now a Seattle Seahawk.
So I'm projecting that they're counting on him to be a starter day one.
Oh, yeah. If he's not starting at left guard, it would be something changed between now and the start of the season. Mike McDonald, the head coach, stopped short of saying that, and even that which side he'd play on, but that's where the obvious need is. Steve Hutchinson has said that on the radio out here in Seattle, that he will begin at left guard, won't be limited to there. They just, this last 24 hours, decided to pick up the 5th-year contract option on Charles Cross, their first-round pick from 4 years ago. So he will be the left tackle for the Seahawks at least through 2026. But now they have a 4-year, potentially with an option 5-year use of Gray Zabel all over the line. He'll start first at left guard. And, yeah, I fully expect, and I think I know the Seahawks fully expect him to be the opening day left guard starting as a rookie.
Greg, how would you describe the Seahawks offense? Sam Darnold's in, ready to roll, trying to beef up the old line here. Where's the Seahawks offense?
Brand new, starting over, completely transformed. They had a drop back system with deep throwing and some pulling and man-on-man blocking in the run game last year under Ryan Grubb, the former offensive coordinator from the University of Washington, who had no NFL experience when they hired him this time last year, and they fired him after 1 season. They wanted to go to a more physical running game, a more often running game, and they brought in Clint Kubiak, who has roots to the Mike Shanahan Denver Broncos. They brought as the new offensive coordinator. They brought in as a new run game coordinator Rick Dennison, who was a Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator for the Broncos and a line coach for them as well under Mike Shanahan. They brought in longtime offensive line coach John Benton, who came from the Saints with Kubiak. All of them are outside zone, wide zone blocking scheme. That's going to be new for Seattle. That's exactly what they think Gray Zabel will be best at in the NFL, and that's why Zabel's their first pick. And, Zabel may not be the only starter on the Seahawks from North Dakota State. Jalen Sundell has a real chance to be a starting center on this team. I know North Dakota State fans know that he played multiple positions there too, but they think Sundell, the system now, the wide zone, fits him better than the old blocking system does. He played some backup tackle for them last year, a little bit of guard last year as a backup, but they think he's going to challenge Oluwatimi as a new starting center. You could have two NDSU Bison starting side by side, an undrafted rookie in Sundell at center, and a new first-round pick, Gray Zabel, at left guard out here in Seattle.
Interesting. Greg Bell joining us tonight, thenewstribune.com, his coverage of the Seahawks, and you'll want to follow him. Gray Zabel's getting his career started at G Bell Seattle. He's on X. I talked to Gray's high school coach last night on the show. I said, what did you think about Gray? What set him apart outside of, he's big, fast, strong, that stuff? He said he hated to lose. I mean, absolutely hated to lose. When you hear that, what do you say?
Well, that's what I want in my offensive lineman. And that's what the Seahawks need in their offensive linemen, because they've lost a lot one-on-one battles in their offensive line. You want someone who, let alone losing games, doesn't want to lose a down. And the competitiveness is something the Seahawks, their coaching staff, their scouts cited in Gray Zabel when they drafted him. They talked a lot about his tenacity and toughness. They love his size, 6'6", 315. They love the fact that he can move off the ball and run laterally. But they really talked about his competitiveness, his grit, his toughness. That wasn't lost on them. The Seahawks and John Schneider in his 16 drafts here with the Seahawks are big on intangibles, on makeup, on personality and character, a family background. They talked about loving his family and meeting them and getting to know the background that Gray Zabel grew up in Pierre. All of that contributes to why he's a first-round pick. It's not just the football. The grit and the toughness, competitiveness goes a long way.
Okay, I want to ask you about another pick, Jalen Milroe. So Seahawks don't get him like super early, but they go third round. What do you think of that pick? What are they looking at here with Jalen Milroe? As a quarterback, or he's going to do some other stuff early on?
No, he's a quarterback through and through, is the direct quote from Mike Macdonald. When they think of Jalen Milroe, Mike Macdonald, the former Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator, thinks of Lamar Jackson. He said that on Friday night when they drafted him. They love his running ability and the forcing of the defenses to have to game plan specifically for that threat. He's a quarterback threat, Nate, the Seahawks have not had here probably ever. They haven't had a quarterback. Russell Wilson, everyone thinks, was a running quarterback. He ran to throw. He escaped the pocket in extended plays to throw the ball down the field. Many of his best plays as a Seahawk in those Super Bowl years were broken plays that became passes with the receivers getting open on second and third routes. He wasn't often running to run, though he did do that. They rarely called running plays for him, and he rarely took off running. He less often took off running, I should say, than he did running, scrambling to throw. Not Jalen Milroe. 32 rushing touchdowns the last 2 years. 32 as a major college football quarterback in this day and age. 32 rushing touchdowns the last 2 years. He will run over linebackers. 240-pound linebackers are run over in the SEC by Jalen Milroe the last 2 years. And Mike Macdonald talked about after they drafted him that as a defensive coordinator that he was for the Ravens, and he practiced against Lamar Jackson. He got to see every week teams trying to defend Lamar Jackson. The dimension that adds to how demoralizing and how difficult it is for a defense to win the first play, Macdonald described, but then have to defend a second play, an extended play, and then maybe have to defend a third play with the quarterback running down the field. And how tough that is to win 3 times as a defense on a single play. They think that's what Jalen Milroe can be, and they're talking about a package of plays for him as a rookie. It was noticeable that Mike Macdonald said that Sam Darnold will get by far and away 90% or more of the snaps. He didn't say 100. And around Seattle recently with Russell Wilson and even Geno Smith, the starting quarterback has gotten 100% of the reps unless he was injured in games during a season. He said 90%. There could be 10% of plays, 6 snaps or so a game of a package of Jalen Milroe. It would not surprise me at all if that's the case. And probably early in the season so that Seattle's opponents have to game plan for that run threat. I did specifically ask McDonald if it's a Taysom Hill type thing he's thinking of, and he said, no. This guy is a quarterback through and through. He's not an H-back. He's not a tight end like Taysom Hill was for the Saints. There's an obvious question there because Kubiak called the Saints plays last year and had Taysom Hill, but that's not how the Seahawks intend to use him. They had him under center and pressuring the edges of defenses, and he could be doing it as a rookie.
Do you know anything about the Seahawks board of they take Jalen Milroe, third round? Was there any Shedeur Sanders thought at all?
No. They wanted the threat of the run, and they wanted the 2 years of developing the passing mechanics. They think that because they've signed Sam Darnold for a couple, it's a 3-year deal, but essentially a 2-year deal before they have to make a decision for the third year with the money in the cap hit. So there's 2 years now for the Seahawks to develop Milroe's fundamentals in passing. And Milroe talked to us about he knows he's got to improve his accuracy. So, but they wanted the threat of the run and the ability of the run more so than Sanders or anybody else. And we all have heard the Shedeur Sanders story, how he's turned off a lot of the league in his pre-draft process and how he handled that. Jalen Milroe, there are no questions about his off-field or character. He's a Walter Campbell Award winner, the academic Heisman for major college football. Both his parents are former military, and his mom was a Navy medical service. His dad was deployed to Iraq as a Marine. There were no doubts about the pre-draft process with Jalen Milroe.
Very interesting. Greg Bell will not be doing push-ups with Jalen Milroe, it sounds like. I don't think I'm going to see that.
No, he'll beat me there.
Okay.
He's got it in his genes and his youth. That's right.
Okay.
It's harder than that.
I got you. Great coverage on this. We're going to be following it. Gray Zabel getting his career started at Seattle, and Greg Bell covers the Seahawks, thenewstribune.com, and G Bell Seattle on X. Greg, thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it.
Anytime, Nate. Take care of South Dakota. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Greg Bell in tonight on South Dakota Sports Talk Show on Fox Sports Radio. That's the Seahawks beat writer from Seattle, thenewstribune.com. All right. Boy, that Seattle said they did some homework there. They took Gray Zabel. One of the big things, his competitiveness. Speaking of competitiveness, this Major League Baseball team, maybe the worst ever? Is this the worst ever? Scott Pianowski is in, National Major League Baseball writer, Yahoo Sports next.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Military, first responders, teachers, Renewal by Anderson is offering a heartfelt thank you with its first ever appreciation sale. 20% off every window and door, no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. Plus an additional 9% off if purchased on the initial consultation. That's 29% off. Military, first responders, teachers, this is a limited time offer, so do not wait. Please book your free estimate right now at rbarapidcity.com.
Mr. Liquor 2 announces their first ever Tacos and Tequila Festival. On Saturday, May 3rd, kick off Cinco de Mayo weekend with 6 food trucks on site and serving right on the outside patio. Slip inside the campfire grill and grab a margarita and bring it along as you enjoy free samples of various tequilas throughout the store. It'll be a party you can't miss. The first ever Tacos and Tequila Fest, Saturday, May 3rd at the new Mr. Liquor 2, off Catron next to Walmart in Rapid City.
Spring is in the air, and so are the savings at Highmark Credit Union. Ready to hit the road this season? How about a new ride with a new car loan at unbeatable low rates for qualified borrowers? At Highmark Credit Union, you can drive away with low rates, flexible terms, and the freedom to make every trip to Highmark or on the road feel like a spring vacation. So, what are you waiting for? Spring into action today with a car loan from Highmark today. Visit highmarkfcu.com or stop by and see us. The road to savings starts here. We'll make it happen. Terms and conditions apply. Visit highmarkfcu.com for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Hey, sports parents and ballers of all ages, Rapid City has a new sports facility that you have to check out. E3 Sports Complex on East North Street is the newest indoor sports facility featuring 4 full courts. E3 Sports is here to serve the community and wants all athletes of any age to come and experience expert training, coaching, and the opportunity to unlock your athletic potential. Memberships and court rentals are available now. Come to play at E3 Sports Complex. Learn more at e3sports.org.
Hi, this is Jeremy with Jerry's Cakes and Donuts, inviting you to kickstart your morning by dropping by and grabbing some fresh donuts. I want to thank you for voting us the best in the Black Hills. We're up early making your favorite donuts, so stop by and bring some to the office. Everybody loves Jerry's Cakes and Donuts, and we love you, so stop by, get a great selection to brighten up your day. Serving Rapid City for over 40 years, Jerry's Cakes and Donuts at 109 East Omaha, and remember to like Jerry's on Facebook for some great giveaways.
This is The Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio. It's one of my biggest regrets from an entertainment standpoint that I did not watch Phil Collins live. You know, you just miss that window. You miss it. I missed it. So you're going to hear Phil Collins on this show the rest of your life. Enjoy it. Have a good time. South Dakota Sports Talk Show is on Fox Sports Radio. Thanks for being here. The Nate Brown Show Live. Scott Pianowski's in tonight. Major League Baseball, Yahoo Sports. Scott_Pianowski on X. Scott, what's going on tonight? How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, Phil Collins, the great Phil Collins, who played both the American and the UK part of Live Aid in the mid-'80s. I'll give you my biggest music regret. I never saw Tom Petty, who I was a huge fan of. Always, he had opportunities. I'll go to the next one, and then Tom Petty's not around anymore. So the lesson here, kids, is, don't never assume that second opportunity is going to come up, and take advantage of the chances when you get them.
That is right. So Tom Petty's yours, Phil Collins mine. Okay, good stuff. Now, will fans ever regret not going to Coors Field and watching the Rockies when they were a great team back in the day?
That was a while ago. They've made the playoffs twice in 15 years. They have one playoff win.
Oh.
And I know why we're talking Rockies today, because they're 4-24. They're on pace to have the worst record in baseball history. But remember, the White Sox are only 3 games above them, 7-21. I've been to Coors Field. It's a very clean city. It's a very pretty ballpark. And the best thing I could say for Rockies fans is the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, the Giants, and the Padres, all winning teams, they swing in. So you can go for the opponent. You can go to see Ohtani. You can go to see Betts. You can go to see Logan Webb is pitching tonight. The Padres have superstars all over the place. Corbin Carroll and the Diamondbacks, who led the majors in runs last year, and they're in the top 5 again, a very underrated team. Loaded and NL West. It's just the Rockies are bringing up the rear. I don't know, Nate, with the extreme way the park plays, and I know they've muted it with the humidor. It's not quite as offensive, but you can't get free agent pitchers to want to go there. The guys who have tried it, it's been a disaster. It seems like their closer turns over every year. I really don't know. I realize they have not invested in their product and they've drafted poorly, so they've shot themselves in the foot. But I don't know what the long-term sustainability plan is to make the Rockies a winning team. They've been around for, 30-plus years now, and they really haven't come up with anything consistent.
No, that's what I was going to ask you, Scott. I was going to say, how does Major League Baseball have these teams, the Rockies, on the verge of the worst record ever? The White Sox, you just said, they're not too far away. Is this a problem for Major League Baseball, saying we have some of the worst teams ever now? Why?
I mean, baseball has told you where their bread is buttered. They've expanded the playoffs, and so much of the money is backloaded to the October stuff. So they're willing to accept. They're willing to take it on the chin with the White Sox and the Rockies. And Marlins aren't very good. They've won 11 games. They're just praying, give us another Yankees-Dodgers World Series, or give us the Mets in the World Series or something like that. You give us the Red Sox in the World Series. That's what baseball wants. And, before the season started, we saw a number of these younger players who weren't up to arbitration or free agency yet getting those long-term deals. Christian Campbell did it with the Red Sox. Jackson Merrill, who's since gotten hurt for San Diego, but a good young player for the Padres, he made that deal. And I wonder if some of these younger players are worried that maybe there's a lockout a couple of years down the road and they want to get their money now. Of course, the other thing, too, is if you're not good, you're still going to get the money, right? I mean, the Braves sent down Jared Kelenic this week. He refused a huge deal from the Mariners maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and turns out he just can't play. So maybe he should have taken that contract. But baseball, they are top-heavy. This is not the NFL where all 32 franchises are treated the same. In baseball, all 30 franchises are not the same. And part of the problem, too, with the losing team is like the Pirates, they'll take the revenue-sharing money, put it in their pocket, make a profit. We've talked about them before in this program. Win 79, 80 games. They should be shoving chips in. They got Paul Skeens in his prime. O'Neal Cruz, one of the most exciting players in baseball. Hits the ball. The ball's a rocket coming off him. And he could steal any base he wants. He's stolen like 27 bases in a row. They should be trying right now. It's not a great division. The Cubs tried. The Cubs went out and got Tucker, right? I mean, they may have for a year. It doesn't matter. They're the top-scoring team in baseball. The only place they didn't score was in the Japanese series. They've been great since. You got to try. And that's the thing that baseball can't do. No matter as much as Rob Manfred is the king of being tone deaf, he can't go to Pittsburgh and say, "Yeah, you're going to sign free agents. You're going to." Maybe they couldn't get Soto, but he signed second tier, third tier free agents. They can't make them do that when they're already pulling a profit off that revenue sharing.
The kicker is fans in Denver are just so upset with the Monforts, the owners. They say they don't care. They got rid of Nolan Arenado, okay? And then they spend money on Chris Bryant. So people are like, well, have they spent money just wrongly, or do they not care in Denver?
It felt like Bryant was going to be their one big swing in 5 years, and they got a player on the downside of his career who maybe can't play anymore. And I'm not even sure what to sell you on here. I mean, Jordan Beck is a nice young player. He's hit the ground running since he got recalled a couple of weeks ago. A lot of guys are striking out a ton here, which is a big problem. But they need to hit on that Bryant deal, not just for when you spend at the top of the free agent market. You're not trying to make a profit on those guys. You make a profit on your younger players who haven't gotten any leverage yet. You're just trying to get some credibility established. I mean, I live in the Michigan area. I remember when the Tigers were down and out. They signed Pudge Rodriguez, and it was a way of saying, "Hey, we're viable. People want to come here." Look at the Patriots. Nobody wanted to go there. They get Mike Vrabel as their head coach. They're viable again. Vrabel's got a bunch of people want to play for him. Sometimes you just need a guy who validates your franchise. They were hoping that Bryant would be that guy, and it's totally fallen on their face. It's sad for me to see Chris Bryant hitting 154. It's sad for me to see him not be a bona fide major league ball player at the age of 33.
Yeah, I was a Chris Bryant fan, being a Cubs fan. He was in his prime there. Scott Pianowski on tonight, Major League Baseball, YahooSports.com. So Rockies on one end, 4-24. On the verge of the worst record ever and one of the worst starts in history. So how about the Twins? Twins fans around here want to say, terrible start. Now they're 5 games back. They've won 6 out of 7. Can the Twins get in there in the AL Central?
Well, they definitely can. Nobody's going to run away in this division. The Tigers aren't going to run away from anybody. The Royals have a losing record right now. The Guardians are kind of built to win 85 games every year. I still think the Twins, they're an eat-your-vegetables team. They're a pitching team. They're a defense team. They thought the bullpen would be a little bit better. It's been a disappointment. You had a healthy Byron Buxton for the first month. That's a plus. I just love to see what he could do with 140 ball games because I think he's a dynamic player. They're going to win. I think Minnesota at the end of the year is a winning record, and they're in the playoff hunt in September. Again, there's no 90-win team there that I see. Detroit still has holes. They've added things. They've done some nice things. Another team that's finally getting back into the free agent bids, and they've added some guys. They added Gleyber Torres, and they added Jack Flaherty, who they traded. And Detroit's run is crazy, right? They were a losing record. They trade Flaherty. They're not in it. They somehow make the playoffs, and they bring Flaherty back. But this is going to be probably a 3-team race where 85 wins would get you in the playoffs right now.
So Twins going up for a sale here, looking for a new owner. White Sox, why aren't people knocking down the doors to say, we're going to be the new owners of the Twins and White Sox?
Great question. I mean, you always see when the owners want to cry poor, well, the franchise values always go up. Every time franchises are sold, the money goes crazy. So I still think Minnesota, it's a great sports city, very nice people. It's a beautiful ballpark, and it's just great to see them outside again since they built that park. I think the timing just maybe isn't right, but I still think it's an attractive market. It's very Midwestern values in Minnesota, and I've spent some time there, and people could not be nicer. You blow a flat tire, you go to a stranger's house, and they help you out. That's what people are generally like in Minnesota. I can't speak for every citizen, but the people that I encountered are very, very nice. I still think this can be a good baseball city, and it's unlike the Rockies. I mean, the Twins do have some recent playoff success as far as making the playoffs. We know they usually face the Yankees and then get wiped off the map, but I mean, they're still in this 9-10 playoff appearances since 2002. I mean, they're still a competitive franchise.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. White Sox Twins looking for new owners. Nobody, at least setting the world on fire there yet. Scott Pianowski, before I let you run, Rob Manfred said he's thinking about the Pete Rose thing. You know, he met with the president. He wants to do it. Rob Manfred saying he didn't say much else. They talked about the Pete Rose thing. Where do you think that goes?
Yeah, maybe Manfred would like a win, and he thinks that he could get a win in public favor if they quote-unquote reinstate Rose. Obviously, Rose died, what was it, a year and a half ago, I think it is now, and there's been enough unsavory things that have come out on Rose, not just the gambling, but some of the other things he did in his life, that I'm not sure he ever makes the Hall of Fame. That's the big thing here, right? Is people, what's Rose's legacy going to be? Obviously, on the field, a walk-in Hall of Famer, hit record, played all over the field, made all-star teams, was part of signature teams and signature moments. But the one rule in baseball, it almost killed the sport long before any of us were around. But, the Black Sox scandal, you can't have integrity of the game being questioned. And even if you're betting on your own team, would you do something unsavory to win a game today that maybe hurt the team down the road? And I get people like, well, he's betting on his own team. What do I care? But that's just also, what if he gets in debt, right? I mean, then you're beholden to somebody. How do you pay those guys back? Maybe you throw a game. I mean, you just can't be in bed with that stuff. And I realize that's a weird message to give because gambling is everywhere now in sports, and it's on your telecast. It's at the ballpark. There was a great Simpsons take on this, by the way, last weekend. I hope some people got to catch that. But I think eventually Rose will be quote-unquote reinstated. I don't think he'll ever in our lifetimes be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, so interesting. Rob Manfred in a tough spot. He said they talked about Pete Rose. More on that later. Scott Pianowski on tonight. Follow him at Scott_Pianowski and Yahoo Sports. Scott, good to have you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Nate.
Appreciate it. Scott Pianowski on the Nate Brown Show tonight. Major League Baseball, yahoosports.com. All right, he says the Twins will be in the mix for you guys. They'll be in the postseason mix. Twins fans rejoicing after the start they've been under. Winning 6 out of their last 7 now. Let's go to who's hot and who's not. Don't miss this tonight. Who's the number 1 selling jersey from the NFL draft? Who's the number 1 selling jersey? I got the guy, and then you'll be surprised who comes in the top 3. Top 3 selling jersey. Plus, the thing I hate right now about the NBA playoffs. Next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Okay, who's ready to fish? Fleet Farm's all stocked and ready to go with the hottest brands to help you gear up for the season. Like the latest lines and lures from Berkley, Fluger rods and reels, Northland tackle, bobbers, and bait, all sorts of Senko worms, the best in fish finders from Humminbird, Lowrance, and Garmin, St. Croix rods, new releases from Abu Garcia, and more. Stop in and check out the latest fishing gear from all your favorite brands at the best prices guaranteed at Fleet Farm.
I was the cool dad. My kids wanted me to take them to the mall. I didn't think anything about doing it in front of them, even though I knew it was illegal. Then my oldest started driving. Like father, like son. Gotta read that text right now. But he took a life, and now his is shattered too.
Addiction has many faces. Texting and driving when you know it's life-threatening and illegal can be one of them. Take back control. Put the phone down.
Brought to you by the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety, the South Dakota Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Need tires? Denny Menno Rushmore Honda will match anyone's price on tires. Plus, give you 2-year road hazard coverage at no extra charge. And for a limited time, get a $100 instant discount plus any available manufacturer's rebates on sets of 4 tires. Our experts help you get the right tires for your vehicle, and we match any price, give you 2 years of road hazard coverage, and a $100 instant discount. That's how we roll. See us at Denny Menho Rushmore Honda or justhowweroll.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows level off around 45 tonight under mainly clear skies. Winds out of the southwest 8 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow. Chance of rain showers. High temperatures reach up to 58. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow night. Slight chance of rain showers. Lows dip down to about 40. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, it's 67 degrees.
Are you thinking about starting or expanding a business? At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, our dedicated business lending team focuses on understanding our members' unique needs and truly wants to help them succeed. From the loans to get your business off the ground to the accounts to keep it running, we offer unique products with your business's best interest in mind. Learn more at bhfcu.com or text or call 605-718-1818. BHFCU is a member-owned, not-for-profit.
Monument Health Orthopedic and Sports Medicine is here when you need us for the extreme athletes or those everyday activities. From kiddos with broken bones to retirees with creaky knees. Whether you're pumping iron or planting petunias, we'll be in our clinic locations throughout the region working together. Monument Health Orthopedic and Sports Medicine, getting you moving again so you can confidently say, I'm back. Go to monument.health/orthopedics to find out more.
Hey golfers, have you experienced Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club? Golf Digest ranked Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club the #1 public course in South Dakota. Off Exit 17 in Spearfish, Elkhorn Ridge offers a golfing experience second to none. Play their 18-hole championship layout with your buddies. Stop into Miller Creek Pub for some drinks, or bring the family out for lunch and try out the new putting green right below Miller Creek Pub. Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club has it all. Book your next tee time at elkhornridgeresort.com.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
All right, let's do this on the Nate Brown Show. Who's hot and who's not every night at this time. Brought to you by the Pizza Ranch, our favorite buffet. You know that. 3809 East 10th Street, Sioux Falls. Also in Brandon, stop by the Pizza Ranch, 2 locations in Rapid City, home of everyone's favorite buffet, your locally owned and operated Pizza Ranch with a Fun Zone arcade. Take the kids, have a good time. Who's hot and who's not on the Nate Brown Show? In my Who's Hot category, let's go to the official NFL shop. They revealed the top 3 jersey sales from the draft picks. Top 3 jersey sales from the draft picks so far. #1 jersey, Travis Hunter, Jacksonville Jaguars. Travis Hunter. #2, Cam Ward. So Cam Ward was the #1 pick. He's got the #2 jersey for the Titans. #3 overall jersey sales. Don't say it ain't so. Shedeur Sanders, Cleveland Browns. Interesting, isn't it? In our Pizza Ranch Who's Hot, I've got a double hitter. Did you just see that Randy Moss's son got invited to the Minnesota Vikings rookie minicamp? Randy Moss's son's a wide receiver for Maine, and he got invited to the Vikings rookie minicamp today. So congratulations to Randy Moss's son. And our Pizza Ranch Who's Not, I'll leave you with this. I'm watching the the NBA playoffs. I enjoy it. I'm a basketball guy. But I'm watching the Warriors and Rockets last night. It's the second quarter. We're winding down at the house. I'm going to have a nice late evening watching hoops. I can't get through the second quarter without 5 stoppages. They're looking, they're reviewing this push and this checking and that check and this elbow and that hit. They review everything. It was the second quarter. It took 30 minutes to play 3 minutes. I mean, it's out of control. Just call the flagrants, call the T's, or don't call them. I don't need to look. Was this a flagrant 1, a flagrant 2? Was it intentional? Was it not intentional? Go back to the old days. Quit reviewing every single thing. Okay, that's enough. Can we just watch basketball? It's good stuff. See you tomorrow. The Nate Brown Show podcast going up right now.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Our locally owned Ace stores are committed to helping our neighbors.